Firstly, congratulations on making the decision to start your own childcare provision. To assist you in this and to help you do this successfully, in today's video we'll be going over how to open a nursery in your own home. This is different to childminding, though some of the advice will help you to do both. If you don't already know, I currently run my own 50-place nursery in London, but I started just how you are thinking about now, by running a nursery in my home. I did this for 2 or 3 years before moving to my own dedicated building. This was way back in 2014. I had no idea how to do it and faced many needed setbacks, though I did learn a lot from it, which I now teach on the course Open Your Nursery in Your Home (Childcare on Domestic Premises). I'll talk more about this course at the end of the video, as I want to get straight into the video and what you are here for, which is how to start a nursery in your home in the UK. This is known by its official name of Childcare on Domestic Premises, and has different rules and registration requirements to childminding and to running a nursery outside of your home. There are some similarities and some key differences between running a childminding setting and childcare on domestic premises, which I will go through in a future video. So make sure that you subscribe to find out when this comes out. So what is childcare on domestic premises? Childcare on domestic premises is where 4 or more people come together to work in a home-based setting at any one time. A childcare on domestic premises setting can sometimes feel like a mini nursery. It will usually have all of the advantages of a larger group of children learning together, but still have the home from home feel of a childminding setting. I personally love teaching people how to open a nursery in their home, because it's a great start to learn how to run your own business and start to become independent. You could earn a decent wage without having a heavy outlay. As I mentioned, this is how I started, and it enabled me to move into my own building very quickly. If you are new to starting or running your own business, it can provide a vital experience before you then go into your own nursery building. This is because there is much less risk involved, especially financially, as your main expense is just going to be your resources. It can also work as training for you as you work out the ins and outs of running a nursery, and as you live there, it enables you to manage every single aspect of your nursery and of your building, enabling you to make necessary changes which may be more difficult if you are travelling to the building. Though there is nothing wrong with finding the building straight off, especially if you don't have the space in your home. It's just an advantage if you either haven't had experience working in a nursery or aren't as confident in running the business side, as this can be a good business to test the waters. Though I must stress, this doesn't mean it is going to be easy, and it doesn't mean it's something you should take lightly. You are still going to be responsible for other people's children, which is a great honour but also carries great responsibility. In this video, we will go through the 5 steps you need to take in order to open a nursery in your home. And if you need further guidance on any of these steps, then you can find out extra information on how to do each of these steps at the end. This video will give you an overview of what you need to do to help you get a better idea and help you to get started. So the first step would be to prepare yourself and prepare your building. Before starting, before planning, before putting things into place, before buying resources, before contacting OFSTED, the first thing you need to do is to speak to your family and anyone else who lives in your home. This is to discuss whether they are ready for the responsibility of having a nursery in their home. These need to be honest and frank conversations, as their home and the way they live is going to change. Gone are the days when your child might be able to stroll downstairs in their underwear during the day. Even lions may be a thing of the past, as they may be greeted and woken with potential screaming children early in the morning. Are they ready for this? These are all things my family struggled with when we opened our nursery in our home. They supported the nursery and were glad we were starting our own business, which they knew wasn't an easy thing to do. Though they were frustrated with the change, but didn't really complain until after the nursery was no longer in our house. Your family may be similar, so make sure they are ready for you to open a nursery in your home. Are they ready for the increased noise that children will naturally bring for long periods on most days whenever you are open? Are they ready for the reduced space that they will now have? Part of their house will now be being used for a nursery. We converted our living room into the nursery, which meant that there wasn't really a shared space in the house, meaning most of the family ended up staying in their room. It affected our socialising and family life. We had to work harder to make quality time for each other. Are they ready for the need for them to maintain professionalism? As I mentioned, like no coming downstairs half dressed, no playing loud music in their rooms. Parents will see them as a reflection of you. They are now representing you and your business, especially whilst in the house. It may be more difficult for people to visit the house. You will want to maintain some level of professionalism. Are they ready to represent your nursery and your brand to potential parents? If you, your family, or anyone living in the house isn't ready for this, you need to really consider whether you want to go ahead, as you don't want to put friction in any of your relationships. If they are supportive, you can then decide whether you are ready and start preparing yourself. Running the nursery will be demanding. There will be long hours and a lot of responsibility. For me, living in a nursery made it very difficult to separate home life and nursery life. Also, in order to be classed as a nursery and follow nursery ratios as opposed to childminder ratios, which are more favourable, you will need to ensure you have a relevant level 3 childcare qualification and be working with 3 other members of staff. You also need to have paediatric first aid qualification for yourself and a DBS check for yourself and everyone over 16 in your home, whether that be staff or family members. Once you know you're ready and your family are ready, you can then move on to preparing your building. You need to think about what parts of your building are going to be used for the nursery. Really think about the setup and how you'll run your day. Will the nursery be there permanently, so the setup will stay there in the evenings and the weekends, or will you be a packaway setting, packing away all the nursery stuff and storing it in the evenings or weekends? This choice will naturally impact on how you and your family use your home, so really consider this. We used our living space permanently for the nursery, which meant most of the family was confined to their rooms. So a packaway setting may be better for your family, but it does add extra work having to pack everything away, and it may change the resources that you're able to buy. So you really need to think heavily about the setup of your rooms. What parts will both the nursery and your home be sharing? Will family be sharing the toilet? Will they have access to the kitchen? And with both of these, and with any of this, how will this impact the children that go to your nursery? Also think about where children will put their stuff, like coats, bags and shoes. Is there space for this? How will parents and children enter the nursery? Where will parents drop off? How will parents sign in and out? You also need an area to be able to privately discuss anything with parents. Where can this be done? You're supposed to also have a separate area where staff can relax away from the children. This doesn't have to be a separate room, but it does have to be a space where they can relax away from being disturbed by the children. For both the area to discuss with parents and our staff room, we used our kitchen, which had a door that can be closed and locked. So you also need to think about where will children eat and where will children sleep. So really think about the different things that happen throughout the day and determine whether this will work. You can do this by drawing it out, running through your nursery day, or just by envisioning it. This part is important as it gives you an idea of whether it is actually possible for you to do. You don't want to open up and find out nothing works as you planned. Naturally, when you do open, you will find things that do not work and you want to change, but you want to plan as much as possible so that any change that you do need to make is not a major change. Once you've thought about what space will be used for the nursery and the children's play area, you can then work out how many children you can actually care for in terms of the size of your space. This is all covered in the early years foundation stage statutory framework, or EYFS statutory framework. The EYFS statutory framework states that you can have 1 under 2 per 3.5 meter squared, or 1 2-year-old per 2.5 meter squared, or 1 3 to 5-year-old per 2.3 meter squared. So measure the space you plan to use and determine how many children you can have, determining how many 3 to 5-year-olds, how many 2 to 3-year-olds, and how many under 2s you plan to look after. Though remember, these requirements refer to the usable space for the children, so would it include spaces like your hallway, kitchen, toilet, cupboards, etc. These are the main considerations you need to think about when planning the space you need for your nursery. If you need any more information on this, we go more into detail on the Open a Nursery in Your Home course and discuss other things you need to consider. So if you want more information on any of this, wait until the end of the video. Once you know the space requirements, how you use the space, and everyone in your household is on board, you can then contact the relevant people to get permission to open your nursery. If you are renting, you will need to get permission from your landlord. Check your rental agreement to ensure that you will not be in breach of your contract by running the business in your home. If you may be, then speak to your landlord and let them know what you plan to do. Depending on how you frame it to your landlord and your relationship with them, they may even be supportive of your new nursery. If you own your property but have a mortgage, you may need to speak to your mortgage provider. Although it is unlikely, it may invalidate your mortgage if you start running the business from there, and it is best to check with them just in case. If you own your property outright, as in you don't have a mortgage, you just need to contact your local council. Though you still need to contact your local council if you are renting or have a mortgage as well. You'll need to get permission from them to run a nursery from your home. You can get this permission just by emailing the relevant department of your council. They will let you know whether you can run or not. What you put in the email is so important, as you need them to approve your new nursery. You need to convince them that your nursery will be positive for the area and won't cause any adverse effects to the neighbourhood. If they don't accept your proposal via email, you will need to do a full planning application. This can be long and costly, so it's important you get the initial proposal done well. We go through what to include in order to increase the likelihood of the council accepting your proposal on the course, as well as how to apply for planning. So if you want support on this, then make sure you do enroll. Most planning applications can be completed online. After you have permission from the council, you know that running a nursery from your home will be possible. You can then start getting resources and apply for OFSTED. Firstly, still under preparing yourself and your building, you can then start preparing to get resources. When thinking about your nursery, my personal advice is to take advantage of your homely feel. You don't need to set up your nursery to look like a typical day nursery held in its dedicated building. You are in a home, and this has its own benefits. Children will naturally feel more relaxed there than in a nursery setting, as it will feel more at home. It is something that they'll be more used to and generally will help them settle in quicker. There's even been a move by more nurseries who are now attempting to make their settings feel more homely, so take this into consideration when looking for resources. I've said in previous videos, but I stress again, you don't need to spend thousands of pounds on brand new resources for your nursery. You can get some really good second-hand resources as well as some free donated resources. New resources are great to get, but remember you will likely have to replace a lot of resources as things will get damaged quicker than you probably expect. If you know any parents already, you can ask for donations for things like old toys or books. You can sign up to a local library and rent books regularly. This way you always have new and a range of books for your nursery. Check charity shops too. They usually have some great and cheap resources. You can also check resale apps like eBay, Facebook and places like this. You should try to gradually get resources over the course of setting up your nursery and after you open, depending on how much finances you have. You don't need to get every resource straight away. Get a range of resources to start off with to cover the different areas of learning and add to it as you grow. No nursery or no business starts off with every resource that you need, so you don't have to go crazy with your budget. And remember, most importantly, your biggest resource for the children and your nursery will never be what you buy, but who you invest in. Investing in developing yourself and your staff's knowledge will always be more important than investing in the latest expensive resource. Now that's the main things associated with the first step of preparing yourself and your building. Before moving on to the second step, which is to register with OFSTED, I want to ask a quick quiz question to see whether you've been paying attention. On the course, each section has a quiz at the end to test your knowledge and to help embed your learning. So this question is, how many members or staff in total do you need to register a home nursery, also known as childcare on domestic premises? Is it A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, or D, 5? It's C, 4. You need yourself and 3 other members of staff in order to register as childcare on domestic premises. Congratulations if you got it right. Now we will discuss the second step, which is getting registered. This is registering with OFSTED if you're from England. Though if you are from Wales, you'll be registering with the Care and Social Services Inspectorate Wales. If you are from Scotland, you'll be registering with the Care Inspectorate. And if you're from Northern Ireland, you'll be registering with the Health and Social Services Board, or HSSB. You can find out how to register with the other bodies by clicking the links in the description. Though with OFSTED, registering with OFSTED involves filling out 2 forms and getting on the early years and childcare registers. The 2 forms you need to fill in are the EYO form, which is for your nursery, and an EY2 form for yourself and all members of staff you'll be working with. These can both be done online. OFSTED will be looking at whether you can run a nursery and whether your building is suitable for a nursery. After filling in both forms and registering with OFSTED, they will usually come and visit you within 12 to 25 weeks. When they visit, they will look around your building and discuss with you your suitability. They will also want information about who will be living there. When discussing with you, they will ask about your knowledge of the earliest foundation stage, so they will want to know how well you know about safeguarding, inclusion, British values, how you will develop children, how you work in partnership with parents, how you will recruit staff, example applying for DBSs and references. So it will be good to refresh your memory on all of these things in preparation for the visit. They are likely to check your DBS certificate, your level 3 qualification, as well as your paediatric first aid certificates. Any other qualification you have will also aid your application. If you have any pets in the house, like a dog or a cat, they may ask how this will impact the children and how you ensure the safety of this. They may also want to see some of your policies and procedures, so you will need to create them before their visit. The key ones you need to create are your safeguarding policy, your recruitment policy, your behaviour management policy, your special educational needs policy, and your inclusion policy. Now, in terms of your building, OFSTED will be looking at how safe your building is. You should do a risk assessment for your whole building, identifying all of the major and minor risks associated with your building, and state how you will reduce the risk to children. Firstly, in terms of fire safety, what is your fire evacuation procedure? Do you have more than one exit? If you don't, can windows be used as a form of evacuation? Have you got a fire extinguisher, a fire blanket, etc.? You will also need a first aid kit on the premises and stair gates if there are stairs. You need to make sure that any areas that shouldn't be accessible to children are cordoned off. For example, by locking doors or stair gates on entrance to your kitchen and having locks on storage cupboards. How will you store dangerous items like medicine and cleaning products? They need to be put out of reach of children. Think about radiator covers too. If radiators can be touched by kids, you will probably need something to cover them to prevent them from being burnt. These are just things that you need to consider and that OFSTED may quiz you about. You will need to make sure that your building is safe. You should put your application forward as early as possible, as you have 12 to 25 weeks to prepare for OFSTED to come, and you can use this time to prepare your building as well as other things. OFSTED are likely to only visit you once, so you need to make sure that you're ready and your building is safe and ready when they do. They will tell you in advance when they do plan to come, so if you aren't ready, you can delay them until you are. After the visit, if they approve you, they will tell you and you can pretty much open straight away. Though as I mentioned, it can take 3 to 6 months, so whilst you are waiting for them to visit and going back and forth with them regarding your application, you can begin planning other areas like planning and organising your finances, which is the third step. But before going on to this, I said I would give a quick quiz question for each step. So the question for this step is, what are the 2 forms you need to complete in order to register as a childcare on domestic premises? Is it A, an EYO form, B, a CR1 form, C, an EYS form, D, an EY2 form? The answer is A and D. The CR1 form is an application to join the childcare register. Although you will be joining the childcare register, you apply to join the childcare register by completing the EYO form. The EYS form is used to add a setting to a nursery and is only used if you were to rent or buy a building specifically for a nursery. As you're doing it in your home, you don't need to fill in this form. Now to the third step, which is to begin planning and to organise your finances. You can continue or start purchasing resources, but you should now start creating your business plan if you haven't already. A business plan is a document setting out a business's future objectives as well as listing strategies for achieving them. In your business plan, include information like how many children you will look after, how much you plan to charge, and things you plan to buy. All of this is stuff that you should research. The course Open a Nursery at Your Home has documents to help you with this research, though you should already know some stuff, for example, how many children you can have. But you should also research how much you can charge by seeing how much your potential competitors charge for similar services, and by working out what your costs are likely to be, ensuring that how much you charge covers all of your costs. You will need to work out how much it will cost to get you started, as well as how much your ongoing costs will be. Some of these costs will include things like the cost of training, any renovations you plan to make, the cost of cots, beds, toys, gates, door locks, etc. Will you be providing food? If so, the cost of food will also need to be included. Though some things like the cost of milk through the milk schemes can be reimbursed. As well as researching your costs and putting this into your business plan, you will also need to research your area, primarily to research what the demand is like in your area. You need to make sure that there is enough demand in your area for your potential childcare. Typically, there is not a shortage of people needing childcare. I've never researched an area and found that there is not enough demand for me to open a nursery, but it is still an important step to do to let you know how much demand there is. Doing this research also gives you other information like what type of services other childcare providers offer. It will give information about what parents are currently using and can give ideas on how you can differentiate yourselves. Some parents may prefer a day nursery as they like the large environment, whereas others may prefer a smaller setting as it has a more homely feel. This is where you can capitalize. Stress these benefits in your marketing. Your research may also give you other ideas on how you can change the services you plan to offer. For example, you may find that your area is a large factory area where lots of people work overnight, so you may be able to differentiate yourself by offering overnight childcare. Or do all providers in your area only provide care for preschoolers? You can then take advantage by offering care for children that are younger. So doing research will not only let you know your demand in your area, but give you some ideas on how you can differentiate yourself. Though if you do find your area doesn't have the best demand, you need to start thinking about your USP. How will you make your setting unique? What will make parents choose you over other nurseries or childcare providers in your area? In your case, as it's going to be in your house, you will have a big advantage as you have a more personal touch as it's actually in your home, and parents will get to know you personally. So you can make this one of your main selling points. If demand isn't as high as you expect, you may also need to adjust your expectations. If after completing an area research document in the course and demand isn't as high as you expect, you may have to adjust your business plan as it may take a little longer for you to sell all your nursery places. In your business plan, you should also put your opening hours, whether you'll be term time only or open throughout the whole year, any other things you will offer, for example school drop-offs. Just describe the service you'll be offering in detail. Also state things like how you plan to market your business and how you organize your recruitment, which we will go over both in the final steps. Once you have completed your business plan, you can use this to apply for a loan or any other outside finances. You will not be able to apply for a bank loan without a business plan. A quick recap on the 3 steps so far. The first step is to prepare yourself and your business, ensuring your family are prepared and your building is safe. The second step is to register with the governing body for your area, whether that be OFSTED for England, the Care Inspectorate for Scotland, the Care and Social Services Inspectorate Wales for Wales, or the Health and Social Services Board HSSB for Northern Ireland. And the third step, which we've just gone through, is preparing your plan and organising your finances, which includes creating your business plan. Before moving on to the next step, we will do this step's quiz question, which is true or false. You can apply for a business loan without a business plan. Is it A, true, or B, false? The answer is B, false. In order to get a loan for a business as a startup, you will need to create a business plan. You should all really have got this one correct, as I did just say this. But moving on to step 4, which is to recruit the staff that you need and plan your human resources. As you should already know, you will need 3 members of staff working with you to register as a childcare on domestic premises. In order to employ staff, the first thing you need to do is register as an employer. This involves sending information to HMRC. This is very easy to do and just involves filling in a short form that if you need any guidance on this, you can get this on the course. Once you register with HMRC, you then send the payment information of each staff, example how much you pay them, whenever you do pay them. You do this by downloading software which will work out how much tax and national insurance they will have to pay. After registering with HMRC, you then need to register as a pension provider. There are many different companies you can choose, but for any person you employ that is over 22 years old and earns over £10,000 a year, they must be enrolled on a workplace pension. This is where you and the staff contribute to their pension. Staff should be auto-enrolled, though they can opt out whenever they want. As I said, you need a minimum of 3 members of staff, though depending on your size you may need more. So you should work out how many members of staff you will need by using the ratio requirements stipulated in the EYFS. This states that you need 1 member of staff for every 8 3 to 5 year olds, or 1 member of staff for every 4 2 to 3 year olds, or 1 member of staff for every 3 under 2s. After you know how many staff you need, you can then start recruiting them. You should create your interview questions, job descriptions and application forms. You can find these all online, though it is also available to download on the course, which also has staff handbook guidelines, induction checklists and other documents to aid your recruitment. You can advertise the job role at the job centre or on websites like Indeed, on Facebook or on other dedicated nursery sites like day nurseries or childcare.co.uk. After choosing any candidates, when enrolling them, it is good practice to get them to fill in a starter checklist, as this will collect the information that is needed for you in order to pay them. You can then pay them easily by sending them their payslip and doing a bank transfer. So that's the full step, which is to recruit the staff that you need. The quiz question for this step is, which of these members of staff will need to be auto-enrolled on a pension scheme? Is it A, a staff member aged 55 years old, earning £25,000 per year? B, a staff member aged 45 years old, earning £9,750 per year? C, a staff member aged 19 years old, earning £18,000 per year? D, a staff member aged 22 years old, earning £11,000 per year? The answer is A, a staff member aged 55 years old, earning £25,000 per year, and D, a staff member aged 22 years old, earning £11,000 per year. Remember, anyone who is 22 years old and earning over £10,000 a year should be enrolled on a workplace pension. Anyone else can also be enrolled if they request. Though when an employee becomes pension age, there is no requirement to enroll them on a workplace pension. The final step to opening a nursery in your home is to promote and market your nursery in order to get children enrolled. The first thing you should do in terms of promoting and marketing your nursery is to come up with your branding. Now, this is more than just coming up with a name and a logo. Your branding is how you portray your nursery to parents, staff, and anyone who comes in contact with a nursery. How you brand your nursery covers every aspect of your nursery, from how you send emails to how you set up your room. Will you brand yourself as a fun nursery like this one, or brand yourself as an educational one like this one? Now, this isn't an either or situation, but merely an example of 2 ways you can brand your nursery. Once you have decided how you want to brand your nursery, you can then start promoting it. One of the first things you should do is to create your own website. This will become one of your most important marketing tools. Creating a website can seem like a big step, but I've created a 5-day website builder challenge where you can learn the steps needed to create your own website. At the end of the 5 days, by spending roughly an hour per day, you will have a fully functioning website which you can use to attract customers. Regardless of how you get your website, creating a website is a must. The cost of a website can be as little as £5 a month. So if you want to get started creating a website now, enroll on the challenge today, which you can find more information in the description. Though there are plenty of free ways to market your nursery too. As well as creating a website, one thing you should do is to create a Facebook page. This is how we initially started. We never had a website at first, even though it wasn't really effective on its own. When we did pair this with a website, it managed to attract parents for the nursery. On the Facebook page, you can upload pictures once you've opened of things you're doing with the children. Though prior to opening, you can do things like a countdown to when you do plan to open and upload it to your page. This will help to get local residents excited by your nursery opening. If you have any pictures of yourself with children, this would be good to upload too. It is better to have real images of you and your nursery on your website and your Facebook page as opposed to stock images. Whether you've only done childminding before, babysitting, looked after family's children, or even just your own kids. Any pictures you do have of you with kids to show prospective parents what their child will be doing will all help to show parents that 1, you can look after children, and 2, that their child will be safe with you. There are also loads of Facebook groups as well where you can advertise that you have a home childcare opening soon. So make sure you use these, posting these regularly leading up to when you open in order to boost your enrollment. You can also plan an open day prior to opening to help get your nursery out there in the community. When parents do show interest, it is good to get them and their child in for a show around and an induction. This is so that you and the family can build a relationship with each other prior to them starting. Because remember, although it is a nursery, it is still your personal space and your home. You'll be inviting people into your home and you will want to get to know who you are inviting in. There are many other ways you can promote your nursery, including handing out flyers, but these should give you an idea and a place to where you can start your marketing. So that's the 5th step done. The final quiz question for the 5th step is, which of these form part of your branding? Is it A, your logo, B, your nursery name, C, your tagline, or D, yourself? The answer is A, your logo, and C, your tagline, and B, your nursery name, and D, yourself. Yes, all of these form part of your branding. Your branding includes everything that can affect a person's decision to choose you, and you want all of your branding to be saying the same message. You don't want your nursery to be branded as fun and bubbly if that's the opposite of how you portray yourself to parents. But that's the 5 steps needed to open your own nursery. A quick reminder, they are: step 1, prepare yourself and your home. Step 2, register with OFSTED or the other regulatory bodies. Step 3, start planning, which includes creating your business plan. Step 4, start planning your HR and recruiting staff. Step 5, plan your marketing and your promotions. All of these 5 steps are covered in detail in the course Open Nursery from Your Home (Childcare on Domestic Premises). This course teaches you what you need to do, gives you access to the documents you need to complete, as well as guidance on how to fill in these documents. It is the most complete guide to open a nursery in your home in the UK. In this course, you will learn everything you need to know in order to open a nursery from your home. You will get a step-by-step guide teaching you how to open a nursery in your home, tools to help you do things like research demands in your area, hire and pay staff, plus lots more, access to documents and paperwork which you can simply edit for your business, business plan guidance with templates and examples, as well as OFSTED registration guidance to ensure you register correctly. I have over 150 people enrolled on the courses, all teach them how to open their own nursery. You can see some of what they have said on the screen now. So join my other happy students now and enroll on the course by clicking the link in the description. In the description, you'll also find a discount code to save money off the course. So click the link and enter the description code at checkout. So start your dream now of opening your very own nursery in your home. I hope this video has been helpful and I look forward to supporting you further on the course. On the screen now is another video which will further support you to open your own nursery. But before you go, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more videos teaching you how to open a nursery. I wish you all the best on your journey and dream, and I will see you on the next video and look forward to supporting you on the course. God bless.